And I want to share with you what I believe is the number one thing that's going to determine how successful we are at any business or in any area of our life, right? The primary leverage point that we have, our true competitive advantage today, isn't the external resources that we have. It doesn't matter how much money we have, the relationships we have or we don't have. The primary point of leverage, the key to having a strategic advantage is your mindset, right? It's your mindset. And what I want to do is I don't want to just kind of like talk about it. I want to kind of break down a framework to help you to understand why it is people perform the way it is they perform and how to get better performance out of yourself. I could talk about this for hours. Hey, I could talk about a lot of stuff for hours. I'm a speaker, but I'm going to condense this down into however many minutes it comes down to. I'm not even going to put a minute on it, all right? I'm not even going to put a time on it, but I want to just jump into it. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of a thing called the iceberg theory of change? If not, let's jump into this real quick here, okay? Give me a moment. So here it is, okay? Let's just say this right here is our iceberg. For this purposes, is an iceberg. Well, this is the water level. Statistically, it is said that only 7% of the iceberg is above the water level. So when you see an iceberg, you're only looking at about 7% of it. The other 93% is below the water level. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to put this diagram on a piece of paper, and then I want you to put these 5 letters in. I, T, J, A, R. It spells it jar. Now, why is this important? I want you to stick with me here because I developed this after I figured out how it is I could ultimately change my life. I'm not going to go into the depths of my backstory, but it's pretty deep and it's pretty dark and it was pretty bad. But let me share with you how in this business and in any area of your life, if you really want to rocket yourself to that next level, whatever that next level is for you and your team, whether it's your body, it's your finances, this right here is going to be the key to enlightenment. It's going to be the key that you can actually use to unlock the better parts of yourself. All right. So here's the thing. Let's look at the top part, right? That 7%, the R. What does that represent? That represents our results, right? Now, here's the thing. You walk around and you look at someone, you see their results. You can't really hide your results. See, you can tell what a person really believes by looking at their results because we live what we truly believe. Now, here's the thing. Let's just say in your life, and this goes for all of us, let's just say you're producing results that you don't like. They can be financial results. They can be physical results, relationship results, whatever. What are we normally told to do if we want to get different results? We're supposed to take what? Different actions. So when you get to the A, that is your actions. Take different actions to get different results. And that makes sense. And that is actually a part of the equation. But let me ask you this. Have you ever taken actions before to get different results, but for some reason, at some point in time, you started to fall back off of the new actions and go back to the old actions? And thus, if you were getting any new results, those results were temporary, right? Those results were temporary. And then for some reason, you went back to the old actions, right? It's like, hey, listen, you really want those results, those new results, those different results, those better results. But for some reason, the required actions, it's like a struggle, right? And they don't seem to stick. Why is that? Why is it we seem to try to be using willpower, as much willpower as possible, to will ourselves into these new actions so that we can produce these new results? And it seems to be a perpetual struggle. So what happens is we have these starts and stops, We start something that excites us because it's new, and we start to try to do these new actions. And regardless of how hard we try, we tend to fall back to the old actions. And we never really produce, at least not long-term, those new results. Why is that the case? It's because we're trying to deal with change on a shallow level. See, if you look at the water level and you look at the results, actions are just below the water level. So there has to be something deeper that we're not paying attention to that is preventing us from keeping and sustaining the kind of results, the kind of actions that will produce the results that we say that we really want. And here's where it happens. we have to go down to I. I, and this is critically important, I is your identity. It's how you see yourself. And here's the trigger right here. Here's the thing that changes everything. You will never consistently do anything that is inconsistent with how you see yourself. You may want to write that one down. Boom. Can you hear the thundering? Can you see the lightning? Think about this. You will never consistently do action-wise anything that is inconsistent with how you see yourself from an identity standpoint. See, if you see yourself as broke, you'll never take rich actions consistently. If you see yourself as fat, you'll never take healthy or fit actions consistently. Because the identity that we have is the lens through which we process the entire world. We see everything through that lens. Oh, you know how we say, oh, I'm not that type of person. Oh, I'm an introvert. I'm an extrovert. Oh, we see those are all labels and identity statements. I am is an identity statement. I am shy. Oh, I am not this, or I am this type of person. Oh, I'm not a salesperson, or I am not those are all identity statements that we are using as self-labels. See, you weren't born into this world with any labels on you. We started to collect these different labels from our environment, from television, from those people that nurtured us when we were growing up. We labeled ourselves based off of past learning experiences that we called failures, right? So what happens is who you are today is a sculpture of all these different labels that you placed on yourself. The trick is, how do you peel back all those false labels to reveal the true you, that true person that you really are, so you can be free to be, do, have, and create, and give, and contribute on the levels that you want?